Trust and respect are not things you should give away freely. They must be earned by those who prove themselves worthy. Yet, in life, we often encounter people who manipulate, deceive, and drain us without us even realizing it. Stoicism teaches us to protect our peace and be discerning about who we allow into our inner world. The wrong people can disrupt our emotional stability, sabotage our progress, and lead us away from our true path. In this video, we're diving deep into 5 types of people you should never trust or respect. These individuals, whether they come as friends, colleagues, or even family members, can subtly erode your confidence, drain your energy, and distort your perception of reality. But when you recognize their traits early, you can set firm boundaries, strengthen your resilience, and protect your peace. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to Beyond Vision Mindset, and leave a comment below sharing your experiences with these types of people. Now, let's begin. 1. The manipulator. Manipulative people are not always easy to spot. They don't announce their intentions or openly show their deceitful nature. Instead, they operate in the shadows, twisting words, bending situations in their favor, and slowly gaining control over those around them. They may disguise their manipulation as care, making you believe they only have your best interests at heart. They use guilt as a weapon, convincing you that saying no to them is cruel or selfish. They flatter you when they need something but criticize you when you assert your independence. One of the most dangerous things about manipulators is their ability to make you doubt your own judgment. They twist reality, making you question whether you're overreacting, being ungrateful, or misunderstanding their intentions. This is a tactic known as gaslighting, and it's designed to weaken your confidence and increase your dependence on them. Over time, you may find yourself walking on eggshells, afraid of upsetting them, and altering your behavior to keep the peace. Stoicism teaches us to be aware of external influences and to develop a strong internal compass that guides our decisions. A Stoic does not let emotions cloud their judgment or allow others to dictate their reality. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that we should remain true to our principles, no matter how others attempt to manipulate us. If someone in your life constantly plays mind games, makes you feel guilty for setting boundaries, or uses emotional tactics to control you, it is a clear sign that they do not deserve your trust or respect. The best way to deal with manipulators is through unwavering self-awareness and firm boundaries. Recognize the signs early. If someone only shows kindness when they need something or subtly pressures you into decisions that don't align with your values, take a step back. Stand your ground, be clear in your words, and do not allow their tactics to shake your confidence. A true friend or partner will respect your autonomy, your choices, and your right to say no without consequence. Those who react negatively to your boundaries were never acting in your best interest to begin with. By removing manipulators from your life, you reclaim your freedom, your peace, and your ability to make decisions based on logic, not pressure. A Stoic does not allow the schemes of others to dictate their path. Stay firm, stay aware, and never allow a manipulator to control your destiny. 2. The chronic critic. Criticism, when constructive, is a powerful tool for growth. It helps us refine our skills, correct our mistakes, and improve as individuals. However, not all criticism is meant to help. Some people criticize not to build but to destroy. The chronic critic is someone who constantly finds fault in everything you do, not because they want to see you improve, but because they take pleasure in diminishing your confidence. They hide behind the guise of honesty or just being real, but their words are laced with negativity, condescension, and subtle attacks on your self-worth. The chronic critic thrives on control. Their goal is not to provide wisdom but to make you dependent on their approval. They nitpick your actions, question your choices, and remind you of your past failures to keep you feeling small. They rarely acknowledge your successes, and when they do, it's usually followed by a backhanded compliment. You might hear things like, "That's impressive, but I bet you won't be able to keep it up," or "You did well, but I would have done it differently." These people want to plant seeds of doubt in your mind, making you second-guess yourself even when you are on the right path. A true Stoic does not allow the words of others to dictate their inner state. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that people will have opinions, but it is within our control whether we let those opinions disturb our peace. If you live your life constantly seeking approval from those who never intend to give it, you are handing over your power. The chronic critic does not deserve your trust because they do not have your best interests at heart. They take pleasure in seeing you doubt yourself because it reinforces their own superiority. One of the most damaging aspects of being around a chronic critic is the long-term effect on your self-esteem. If exposed to their negativity for too long, you may begin to internalize their words. You start to believe that maybe you're not good enough, that your dreams are unrealistic, or that no matter what you do, it will never be enough. This is precisely what they want, to make you feel small so that they can feel significant. The best way to handle a chronic critic is to detach from their words. Epictetus taught that we should not concern ourselves with the opinions of others unless they align with reason and wisdom. If criticism is not constructive, if it does not come from a place of genuine care, then it is meaningless noise. You do not need to engage with it, explain yourself, or prove anything to them. Simply recognize it for what it is, an attempt to undermine your confidence, and refuse to give it power over you. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to grow, but do so with wisdom, encouragement, and fairness. The difference between a wise mentor and a chronic critic is intention. A mentor wants you to improve, while a critic wants you to feel inferior. Trust those who guide you with honesty and kindness, and distance yourself from those who find joy in your self-doubt. Your confidence, your growth, and your inner peace are far too valuable to be placed in the hands of someone who seeks to tear you down. 3. The two-faced individual. There are few things more damaging to trust than deception, and the two-faced individual is a master of it. They wear different masks depending on the situation, presenting themselves as supportive and friendly to your face while speaking ill of you the moment you turn your back. They are the kind of people who smile in your presence but spread rumors, twist your words, and undermine your reputation when you're not around. The Stoics warn us against placing our trust in those who lack integrity. A person who is inconsistent in their words and actions cannot be relied upon. Seneca reminds us that a wise person chooses their associations carefully because bad company corrupts good character. A two-faced person is not only unreliable but dangerous. They can manipulate your reputation, destroy your opportunities, and create unnecessary conflict in your life. One of the most insidious things about the two-faced individual is how well they disguise their deception. They are often charming, agreeable, and skilled at making you feel important. They pretend to be on your side, listening to your struggles, offering sympathy, and even sharing their own stories to create a false sense of closeness. But behind closed doors, they reveal their true nature. They use the trust you've given them as a weapon, exposing your vulnerabilities to others, distorting your words, and portraying you in a negative light to serve their own agenda. A two-faced person is driven by insecurity and self-interest. They often seek approval from multiple groups, adjusting their personality depending on who they are with. They fear standing alone, so they blend into different social circles, saying whatever is necessary to be accepted. This means that their loyalty is never genuine. It is a performance, shifting based on convenience. If someone speaks poorly of others to you, be certain that they will speak poorly of you to others. Stoicism teaches us to recognize people for who they truly are, not who they pretend to be. Marcus Aurelius reminds us to be indifferent to flattery and false praise because they often come from those with hidden motives. A Stoic does not allow their emotions to blind them to reality. If you notice inconsistencies in someone's words, if they share gossip freely, or if they seem overly invested in pleasing different groups of people, these are red flags. The best way to deal with a two-faced person is to limit what you share with them. Keep your personal matters private, observe their behavior, and trust their actions over their words. If someone betrays your trust once, assume they will do it again. Do not waste time seeking revenge or confronting them in anger. That only gives them more power over your emotions. Instead, distance yourself with quiet strength, knowing that their deception will eventually expose itself. True loyalty is rare, and it should be valued. Surround yourself with people who are consistent, honest, and unwavering in their support. Those who speak well of you in your presence and in your absence are the ones who truly deserve your respect. The two-faced individual, no matter how charming or likable they seem, is not worthy of your trust. Recognize them for what they are, and walk away with the confidence of someone who values integrity over empty words. 4. The eternal victim. Life is full of challenges, and everyone faces hardships. But there are those who refuse to take responsibility for their lives, always blaming others for their misfortunes. These people live in a constant state of victimhood, convinced that the world is against them, that nothing is ever their fault, and that they are powerless to change their circumstances. The eternal victim does not seek solutions, only sympathy. At first, you may feel compelled to help them. Their stories of mistreatment and unfairness can be convincing, and as a compassionate person, you might want to offer support. But soon, you will notice a pattern. No matter how much you listen, encourage, or provide solutions, they always find a way to reject responsibility. They will tell you that they would succeed if only others weren't holding them back. They would be happy if life weren't so unfair. They would take action if they had the same advantages as others. In reality, they are more invested in their suffering than in any real progress. The Stoics teach us that while we cannot control everything that happens to us, we can always control how we respond. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. The eternal victim rejects this wisdom. Instead of focusing on what they can change, they dwell on what they cannot. They refuse to acknowledge that their perspective, choices, and attitude play a role in their situation. What makes the eternal victim dangerous is their ability to drain your energy and cloud your thinking. They expect endless emotional labor, demanding that you listen to their complaints without ever expecting them to change. And if you ever challenge their mindset or suggest that they take control of their life, they will turn on you. They will accuse you of lacking empathy, of not understanding their struggles, or of being privileged in ways that they are not. A true Stoic does not waste time arguing with someone who refuses to see reality. If a person chooses to stay trapped in their own misery, that is their burden to carry, not yours. You cannot save someone who is determined to remain a victim. The best thing you can do is set boundaries. Stop feeding their narrative by offering endless support without expecting growth. If they do not take responsibility for their life, they do not deserve your time. Instead, surround yourself with people who take ownership of their actions, who rise after failure, and who seek wisdom rather than excuses. The eternal victim will only hold you back, draining your energy and filling your mind with negativity. Walk away, and leave them to their self-imposed suffering. 5. The toxic individual. Some people go beyond simple negativity or deception. They are toxic at their core. A toxic individual thrives on chaos, manipulation, and control. They bring drama wherever they go, poisoning relationships, stirring conflicts, and feeding off the emotional turmoil they create. Their presence in your life is like a slow-acting poison, corroding your peace of mind and diminishing your self-worth. The toxic individual is skilled at disguising their harm. At first, they may seem exciting, charismatic, or even helpful. But soon, their true nature reveals itself. They are masters of emotional manipulation, using guilt, fear, and obligation to keep people under their influence. They might alternate between kindness and cruelty, keeping you in a constant state of confusion. One moment, they act like your greatest supporter, and the next, they are tearing you down. This unpredictability is intentional. It keeps you off balance, making you more vulnerable to their control. A key trait of toxic individuals is that they refuse to take responsibility for their actions. If they hurt you, they will deny it, make excuses, or even blame you for overreacting. If they fail, it is never their fault. If they manipulate someone, they justify it as necessary. They see relationships as a power game, where they must always be in control. Epictetus taught that we should not concern ourselves with the behavior of others but focus instead on our own reactions. However, this does not mean tolerating toxicity. The Stoics did not advocate for passivity in the face of harm. Seneca wrote that we must remove ourselves from environments that poison our minds and corrupt our character. A wise person recognizes when someone is causing harm and takes action to protect their peace. The best way to deal with a toxic individual is to distance yourself completely. Do not engage in the drama, do not try to reason with them, and do not allow their words to influence your self-perception. A toxic person wants to pull you into their chaos because that is where they thrive. The moment you refuse to participate, they lose their power. It is not your responsibility to fix them, to make them see the error of their ways, or to help them change. A person who is deeply toxic will not change unless they want to, and most do not. Your responsibility is to yourself, to protect your mind, your emotions, and your well-being. True strength lies in knowing when to walk away, and a Stoic does not waste time with those who only bring harm. Surround yourself with people who uplift, who inspire, and who live with integrity. Life is too short to spend it entangled with those who thrive on destruction. Recognize the toxic individual for who they are, step away, and reclaim your peace. Life is too short to waste on people who drain your energy, undermine your growth, and pollute your peace of mind. The Stoics teach us that true strength lies not in pleasing everyone, but in choosing wisely who we allow into our lives. Trust and respect should be earned, not given freely to those who manipulate, deceive, or bring constant negativity. If you've recognized any of these traits in people around you, take a step back and ask yourself, are they adding to your life, or taking away from it? A Stoic does not act out of anger or hatred, but out of wisdom and self-preservation. Walking away from those who do not align with your values is not cruelty, it is self-respect. If you found this video insightful, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Beyond Vision Mindset for more content on self-mastery, wisdom, and personal growth. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, and remember, your peace is priceless. Protect it. See you in the next one.